Hello guys and welcome to OB0.7 patch notes, the Demon Queller. Now, I didn't do the patch notes last week because for a bunch of reasons, but mainly because I forgot about them. But now we're gonna go with the patch notes, and keep in mind that the patch will be probably this Wednesday, if there's no problem with it. And we're gonna have a bunch of new cards and a bunch of balance changes. So, what's new in the patch, right? We're gonna have more Mayan spells, and it's going to be Anguish, a 1 mana spell, and it's 1 mana silence a friendly, and then silence an enemy. Now, if you think about it, 1 mana is pretty cheap, and most of the time you can silence one of your zombies, and instead of like nerfing the zombie, it will actually buff the zombie because the zombie has a text on it that says can only move one space. So if you silence your own zombie, then it can move literally 3 space like a normal unit. And not only that, you still silence an enemy for 1 mana, which is like the chaos spawns that you see a bunch of people playing, but it's easier to fifth when you have 1 mana left, and you don't have the body to 3, which is not really that useful most of the time. So it's gonna be epic spell. It's going to be a good card to play, right? Maybe not 2 of them, maybe 2 of them. Depends if you really want to silence the enemies. But with aggro being so potent, most of the times you don't want that many silence. But talking about aggro and the balance change, you will see we have something for them coming in this patch. Now we have another spell, which is going to be Barter Soul. It's going to be Mayan also. It's going to be common and 2 mana. And it's going to kill a friendly unit and draw 2 non-zombies from your graveyard. So keep in mind that this says 2 non-zombies. So you can draw spells with it, not only units. You can literally draw spells. You can draw gods, or you can draw minions, of course. But it's going to be non-zombies. And basically it's just going to be 2 cards that we replay because there is no card right now in the game with the zombie tag. Maybe later. So yeah, that's gonna be cool. It is random though, right? You don't choose them. That could maybe be implemented. Draw 2 random non-zombies from your graveyard because it seems like you could, like, they should have like a choice pop up and then you can choose it, but it's not like that. So, like Magic the Gathering does that. When you draw something from your graveyard, you have all the cards in the graveyard and then you can choose it. Empower Dead, another Mayan spell. I mean, Mayan does have a lot of spell. So, rare spell, 3 mana. That's funny. We have 1, 2, 3 mana. We have common, rare, epic. Ability now deploys 2/2 zombies. Well, is this going to be really powerful? You spend a card, you spend 3 mana, give +1/+1 to each of your next zombies. In the early game, it could potentially be really powerful. But in the mid-late game, it's not that effective, mostly because you will not use your leader ability that often unless you build a deck around it and really goes like heavy control. And in that case, will that really be great? But at the same time, if you play 2 Empower Dead, you will still deploy 2/2 zombies, so the second one is kind of useless, so you only want to run 1. So maybe you won't draw it that often, but if you run 2, you'll draw it more, but it's like kind of useless. If you draw 2 of them, you have like a dead card, which I don't know. Obviously, being 2 held zombies, they won't die to like Shibolanke, Rushing Thunder, or anything like that, basically. So that's good. Now Chang'e got a rework completely. Chinese card. She used to heal, be a 0/5, and heal at the 1 health at the end of the turn. And now she's gonna be a 4 mana instead of 3 mana. 1/4, and your spell costs 1 less. And that's good because they didn't have a good card at 4 mana. They just lose Ho Yi, and then there was like not really any more slots, so they put up Chang'e. And yeah, the new passive, your spell costs one less, is insanely huge with Crescent Blades, right? Meaning that you could pile up these Crescent Blades, play your Chang'e, and then empty out your Crescent Blades. And this is something that, some people didn't like, but I was a fan of it because you have to count how many Crescent Blades were in the opponent's hand, and, like, play around that, bait them to use their Crescent Blades into lesser threats to play the bigger threats. I really like the mind games it was coming though. One thing I like is now it has one attack, so it's actually useful. And it has less health, so Transfuser is less of a big swing when you transfuse her. And it seems a little bit more balanced with that, in my opinion. And, now at least you're gonna have to play Chang'e, which is 4 mana, in order to empty your spells. And what was insane before is that because they were all costing 0, you can play out Quang, who doubles the damage, and then you can empty your blades and kill everything on the board. Now you can do that, but you're gonna only be able to do it at like 9 mana and more, since playing both Chang'e and Hao Quang will cost you 9, and then you can empty your blades with double damage. But yeah, that's going to be really cool for Chinese. They kind of need some help. And with that, they're also bringing Zhongqi, which is another Chinese god. And it's going to be a rare unit, 4 mana, range 2/4. Which is, it's not that good of stats. It is range though, so I guess. It's gonna be Warcry, add a demon bag to your hand. And demon bag is a card itself, and it reads Demon Bag, a 2 mana spell that deals 0 damage, but this spell gains +1 damage for each unit that dies while Zhongqi is in play. So most of the time, Zhongqi will be in your backline, just chilling there and boosting that spell here. Playing Chinese, so if you're playing against like a Rush or Mayan or Odin, you will easily be able to buff that. The thing is, if Zonquis die, your Demon Bag can't be buffed. Unless you play a second Zonqui. In that case, both of your Demon Bag will be buffed. But again, right, if you have no Zonqui on board, your Demon Bag don't get buffed, so you want at least to get 1 damage. And here's a weird thing, right? If Zonqui dies and it buffed his own Demon Bag before, at least it's going to be useful. You're going to at least deal 1 damage. But if Zonqui dies and it doesn't boost the card itself, the Demon Bag, it's going to be really bad, like trash. So I'm going to have to test that. And again, they put something in the 4 mana slot because that's what the Chinese need right now. Chang'e, Zhongqi. I like it. I really like it. And moving on to the Neiman Lion, that's going to be a neutral rare unit. And it's going to be 2 mana melee 2/1. So more low drop. But it's going to have Protect 1. So it's virtually 2 health in combat. And Afterlife, whenever it dies, you give a random friendly unit Protect 1. So, if you curve out really well, like you play Neiman Lion and you play like Scotty, for example, or anything that Apollo, for example, right? And then you attack with the Neiman Lion and it dies, it will buff that Scotty, it will buff that Apollo, and then you will have, virtually 4 health. But most of the time, these guys die to spells and stuff like that. But it's really good to play in a mid-range deck, 90 Neiman Lion. If you go aggro, it could be useful. But then if you get it on a 1/1, most of the time it's not going to be that useful. So, yeah, Neiman Lion probably going to see some play. Definitely a good card that you can put in some decks. And then we're going to balance, guys. So, Amuzin Cobb, which was 5 mana 3/3 that spawns to Hive, will now be 5 mana 5/3 since his attack increased from 3 to 5. Will he be played? It's a lot of attack, but still not that much health. The Hives only deals damage at the end of your turn. At the start of your turn, so there's still lots of counterplay on that. Potentially. I don't know if that's going to be enough, but maybe. A Wheelix, An issue where Welik's shield will not prevent Bracken from killing her with Blade. Yeah, of course. There was also something else. A deicide cannot kill a Weelix, and they fixed that, I think. Oh yeah, it's over here. Fix deicide where will not kill a Weelix when the passive was up. Yeah, okay. It's weird that they fixed this into a Weelix, but they didn't fix you know what I'm saying? Like instead of putting this into Cabrakan line, they put it in the Weelix, and instead of putting the fixed deicide here, they put it in deicide. Anyways. Chiao Feng, health reduced from 4 to 3. Okay, this is gonna be really huge. You know, now it dies to a lot of removal, like Magma Slams, you know, Gift of Money, but then, you know, still you're gonna have something that deals 3 damage to kill the Chiao Feng. And most of the times, you know, that extra health was a lot to deal in this patch. For me, like, how is it called? The new Mayan card. Say, it's a Sewer, I think, which deals 3 damage. If one of your units dies, you deal 5. Well, you cannot use a zombie to attack Chao Feng, so you could not get, you know, your zombie to die, and then you couldn't get that 5 damage on the Sewer. So now at least at 3 health, Chao Feng will die to the Sewer, which is going to be amazing. So, I love that. It was so hard to deal with Chao Feng with lots of Pantheons because of that extra health. At least now, Norse, Egyptian, Mayan will have a little bit easier time to deal with the Chao Feng. Now, deicide. Blah blah blah, that's with the Weelix. Freya. Freya can no longer target enemy summon stone. And that's a direct nerf to, you know, how much burst the Norse Pantheon has. Not only that, right? But look at Gift of Money. No longer hits Summoning Stone. So that's 5 damage less you can do from cards in your hand. And I really like that. That means that Freya is going to be much more in a control or board wipe if you want card. And Gift of Money is really going to difference itself with Magma Slam, who, like, for lots of time Magma Slam was just weaker than Gift of Money, but now at least it's going to be a little difference. I love that. I love that. They still need to do a difference between Rushing Thunder and the corpse falling from the sky, right? I think it's Death from Below. Like, Death from Below is just way worse than Rushing Thunder, so they still need to change that. Health reduced from 5 to 4, and I like that. I mean, you know, 4 it's not all the cards that can kill 4 health. It's a little bit harder 5, but at least since health only stays at your backline and buff your 1/1s that you spawn, if you have some removal, at least like Double Sunder will be able to kill it, or, you know, Nemesis Tina will actually kill it now. Bunch of cards combo that can kill her. She's really a high priority when she hits the board, so I'm glad she nerfs a little bit the health. Now, Poseidon. Fix a bug when if you play Poseidon after using your leader ability, the ability will not reset. Yeah, that was actually annoying. So that's a direct buff to Poseidon, meaning that you can buff a god in play, for example in Hades, and then you can play your Poseidon for 4, which is you use 6 mana, and then you can use 3 mana to release the Kraken. So that's gonna be really cool. Love it. It's just gonna help. And Thor passive no longer counts the enemy summoning stone, and yeah, that's, you know, that's a little bit better now because we'll always get buff basically. And if you spawn something to kill Thor and he wasn't your summoning stone, it was just buffed again for 4. So yeah, it's a nerf, but I think it's a good nerf. It makes sense. And bug fixes fix an issue where it caused some player to crash at the beginning of the match. So this was the OB0.27 patch notes, the Demon Queller. Some cool Chinese cards, love them. Mayan cards, okay, I like the Stainless one, it's gonna be really interesting. I like that they put some interaction from the graveyard. I like the, you know, fix for Wheelix nice, Chao Feng nerf is nice, Gift of Money nerf is nice. And yeah, like I said, Thor nerf is nice also. Just from a game perspective, or, you know, a make sense perspective. Nonetheless, guys, I hope that you enjoyed my overview about the patch. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and tell me what you think about it. And, tell me what you like or what you didn't like. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video on Wednesday. And that should be a first look at the new patch mostly, if we get it in there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.